pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amy? Here. Ray?
Here.
George?
Yep.
Kristen, yes. Bob?
Yes. You have to listen very carefully. Tonight we don't have a sound system, so we'll try to be loud. Right now we need the approval of our agenda. Any additions, corrections you see on this? If not, I need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Do we have a support to that?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I'll lose my voice here. Look at your minutes from last meeting. We need any additions or corrections?
Make a motion to approve.
Second. I'll second.
Any discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I hope I make it through the night here. Public comments. Do we have any public comments?
Good evening. My name is John Woodley. I'm local counsel for the applicant for the Sylvan solar project. Just want to thank the board tonight for its thoughtful consideration of the conditional use permit application, as well as for drawing the board's attention to the supplemental letter, which was sent to the board following the hearing with the planning commission. We addressed a few points in there that we just want to clarify for the record. I also have members of the project team with me tonight. So if the board does have any questions with regards to the permit, we're happy to answer them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody? Yeah. Anybody else?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
I couldn't hear you.
You couldn't hear me? Yeah, I can hear you.
My name's Dave Shanamanico. My wife and I live under the 3668 West North River Drive in the Wago. We're within approximately 300 feet from the proposed project. So first of all, I want to implore you guys to do what is only the right decision, and that's to take up the planning commission's 6-0 unanimous vote to have this project not go forward. Okay? In addition to that, my wife and I happened to be out of country during the last meeting. With regard to that, we did try and watch as much as we could on live. Immediately, I was actually pretty concerned when I was listening to council get up and talk about the parameters by which you would have to make your decisions, and then some diatribe about $800,000 and how important that is. When really the fact of the matter is, prima facie, I thought it was 8 yeses council being up there. It kind of sounded like our own council was paving the way for a positive outcome for them. I was pretty disappointed with that. In addition, there are a number of things on this project, starting out with the survey. I'll try and keep myself within 3 minutes, so my wife will relinquish her 3 minutes. Where it came out saying that there was only a slight majority of people that were not in favor of this project. Mathematically, that was way off base because it basically threw the undecided votes in their direction. If you look at it the other way around, clearly less than 1/3 of the survey were in favor of this kind of a project, and 3 times as many, just about, were strongly against the project. Now, mind you, that was when it just was described as a large solar project. It really wasn't fully disclosed at that time that this was a mega industrial style, electrical generating and transmission facility that was going to be laid out over thousands of acres of land in Garfield Township. It was going to consume probably over 10% of the agricultural land. So that was a bit concerning too. All right, then then there's the property analysis that was done by a guy on Wacker Drive downtown Chicago. That said, oh, don't worry about it, you know, the property values aren't going to be negatively impacted. Well, I only have one thing to say about that. If you have two identical houses in Garfield Township, one's overlooking a nice pristine agricultural piece of land with deer and turkey and, you know, maybe geese landing over cut corn, the other one's looking out at sea glass, black glass, with a substation that's humming in the background, and somebody tries to tell me that the one with the black glass and the substation is going to command the same price as the other, well, I only have to say to that person that you're either a liar or more, because no one's going to believe you. Okay? Now, excuse me? Look, there's some other things that don't seem
Run through.
brought to the surface. What about the loss of jobs? Okay, I mean, there might be, you know, 8 people that are gonna maintain this facility full-time equivalent, but the loss of agricultural jobs is gonna far exceed that, much less the seasonal employees. And then there are also secondary and tertiary concerns with the economic impact and detriment to our township and the local community, right? I mean, there, you know, farm implements, fuel, seed purchases, so on and so forth. You know, none of that really has been brought up, and other than this, you know, brief shot in the arm from, you know, the construction. I mean, these jobs are gonna be lost in perpetuity, forever, right?
You're using your wife's 3 minutes now? You're using your wife's 3 minutes now? You transfer some?
Yeah, isn't that right?
Okay.
Yeah, so look, you know, at the end of the day, these guys are turning in all kinds of analysis, environmental impact, and I think you know who has the subject matter expertise among you all to evaluate those reports and decide if they're legitimate or not. Okay, this isn't a check the box if somebody turned this stuff in. But I guess I'll kind of relegate it to this. At this point, I've put a lot of mind for you. Sometimes you just have to work hard to keep it simple because it's easy to let it get complicated. The simple fact of the matter is that overwhelmingly, even now that we understand, and cat's out of the bag, so to speak, what kind of project this is, that this community overwhelmingly does not want this. And it's incumbent upon you guys who are supposed to represent the will of the people, you know, to vote with the planning commission's recommendations, 6-0, unanimous against this thing, okay? And to not let AES go forward or go up. Now, if they want to take it to the MPSC, go to the state of Michigan, then we can use our council to help fight this thing, not facilitate. All right, so I guess with that, you know, I really expect you guys to do the right thing and vote against this, and then we'll take the fight from there. So thanks for the time.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I respect concerns of people who are here and concerns that people have about their properties and so forth. I do too. I don't see it the same way. Well, one of the major concerns that I have is what we refer to as climate change. And I think that most of the people who are scientists and who are involved recognize that climate change is really important and that it's happening. And if you look at the storms that have happened in the spring and in the winter time, it's occurring. And what that means is we have more carbon dioxide in our atmosphere than is healthy for the rest of the world. And I really think that that's something that is difficult for all of us to deal with, but I think we all have a responsibility to recognize that and to make decisions to reduce the amount of carbon which is in our atmosphere. And I would really plead with you, take a look at the broad picture, not just what people are feeling now, but over what's going to happen in a number of years' time.
Can I get your name, please? Can I get your name?
Norm
I'm
Rosen.
sorry,
Can I-
I'm terribly deaf.
Can I get your name?
Norm Rosen.
Thank you.
Whoever. Next, please, anybody? Go ahead.
My name is Deborah Shabinsky. I live at 8776 South Wisner, and I am not for the solar system. It's not going to work. It isn't going to be carbon good for us. It's going going to destroy our farmland. It's going to destroy the waters and the wells, personal wells. It's going to destroy the water. In 35 years, we're not going to have farmland because of the solar, I'm sorry. And what's gonna happen to Gerber products? We have been supporting Gerber products for baby food that's been feeding babies for years, right here in Fremont. And gonna take away farmland that supports Gerber products, right here in Fremont and Nuevo. And we don't want agriculture. We want our agriculture. We don't want industrial. We came to Nuevo to live. We grew up here. People have grown here and done farms to live here. We have wells. We don't have city water. We don't want contamination. At the last meeting I was at, I put my bullet points of everything that was bad about solar. California, they have blackouts all the time. They have those wind mines. They have solar. They don't have electricity even like we do. And they have blackouts all the time. What's gonna prevent that here? If we keep putting in solar, we have electric. I've been here over 20-some years. I didn't grow up here. My husband raised his children here. I came. I've never been without electricity, and I have grandparents. Never been without electricity. We don't need solar. I don't believe in the Green New Deal. I don't believe in the weather that they're talking about. We have had hurricanes. We have had bad winters. Back in '78, when my children were growing, we had snow above the cars. So no, we had a bad winter this year. Yes, it's not about climate change. It's not about that. We have had bad weather in our lifetime. People don't want to remember the news because they're changing history. They're not putting our history the way we remember. I grew up with that history. My parents, the history they remember is changing.
3 minutes. Thank
So
you.
they're doing-
3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else got something other than, okay, go ahead.
My name is James Bradley, and I am a neighboring property owner to the proposed Sylvan solar project. The planning commission voted 6-0 to deny this conditional use permit after determining that the project is not harmonious with the township's master plan. That unanimous determination should be respected. The master plan exists to preserve rural character, protect productive farmland and forested land, and guide long-term land use decisions. After reviewing this proposal, the planning commission concluded those goals would not be met. The project would permanently alter hundreds of acres of open farmland. What exists today as working agricultural land will become an industrial site. Perimeter fencing, cleared and compacted soils, gravel access roads, inverter stations, transformers, and long rows of steel racking and panels stretching across the landscape. This is not a minor visual change. It is a fundamental conversion of rural land into industrial infrastructure, designed to remain in place for decades. Once installed, that land is no longer farmed and no longer easily restored to its prior condition. Neighbors experience this project from their property lines, their homes, and their daily lives. The planning commission recognized that the scale of this change is incompatible with the rural character the master plan is meant to protect. The board must consider the broader context of this decision. Recent reporting indicates that BlackRock Infrastructure Investment Arm is in talks to acquire AES, the parent company behind this project. That possibility underscores a critical point. While corporate ownership and investment strategies may shift, the industrial footprint approved here would remain fixed on Garfield Township land for decades, beyond and change in control of promises made today. That reality makes strict adherence to the master plan essential. It is the township's primary safeguard when decisions made tonight shape land use for a generation. This vote is not about renewable energy policy. It is about whether the specific project belongs in this specific location under the plain vision Garfield Township adopted through public process. The Planning Commission answered that question clearly. The appropriate action tonight is to uphold the Planning Commission's unanimous denial and reject this conditional use permit as inconsistent with the township's master plan. Thank you.
My name is Christine Bull. I live at 7452 South Lewis Avenue. And, does the township know what brand of solar panels AES will use? Are they high-end solar panels or are they genetic low-grade brand? And, I have seen bald eagles flying around the area of Baldwin and Bingham roads. It is known that birds die flying low over solar farms. As they are incinerated mid-air by intense heat, a solar farm in California estimated thousands of bird deaths annually. Fatalities of those birds have included over 183 different species, including migratory waterfowl and some endangered birds. Raising livestock and growing crops is a source of our survival. That is a fact and never will go away. We also need clean and uncontaminated water. How are we going to replace our prime farmland, which covers almost 1,800 acres between Garfield and Sheridan combined solar project? There is over 69 utility scale solar farms according to the internet in Michigan. How many do we really need? If it wasn't for the state subsidies, they would not be building them. This impact of data centers will negatively change our environment and community for generations to come. It will not enhance our area or help tourism and lowers property value. We need to maintain our rural and agricultural environment that the Fremont area has always been known for. Garfield Township is a nice area to raise children and a great place to live. It certainly has a country charm and very scenic. Let's keep it that way. Thank you.
Paul Herbert, I live at 299 West 64th Street, and I just wanted to say, I think you guys will do the right thing. I do recommend the planning commission's thoughts on 6-0 and not in favor of this. My wife and I were just driving the other day, saw some solar panels in, not far from Garfield Township, slightly to the north, completely covered with snow. We haven't had snow in a week maybe. I'm not a meteorologist, but they were still covered with snow. So what benefit are we gonna have in midwinter when we haven't seen the sun in weeks? I also know, talking to some of our county commissioners, that the county had information, little studies done, and it's not worth it for us to have solar panels anywhere in New England County, let alone here in our beautiful Garfield Township. Thank you.
Yeah, hi, my name's Ken Nibblake. We have a small farm, West 88, just east of Luce. And my son is a 30-day-old little baby boy. He's 0 still. And I hope he doesn't have to grow up next to an industrial wasteland. Every place the solar occurs all over the world, you get higher electric prices. The main reason why is solar only works at peak, or it doesn't work at peak. So you have to have backup coal or natural gas. As we've seen, anybody who's looked at the energy mix in Michigan over the last month or so has seen solar and wind have done very, very little. So you have to have backup, and that's why it costs more, specific example, in Illinois, 8 cents per kilowatt hour turned into 24 cents per kilowatt hour. So voting for solar really drives up electricity prices all over the world without any exception. Voting for solar is a violation of the master plan, as many people have said. The AES Corporation, well, one is, it's already been mentioned, they have tons of environmental regulations. And the other thing I can say about AES Corporation is they have a very strong legal team to fight those environmental violations. And I think we all need to understand that. The reason why is every man's property is his own. But when the noise, the health hazard from the noise, and the chemicals that they won't even disclose to the Garfield Township, or what's in these solar panels, is not disclosed. They mentioned at the last meeting it's just crystalline silica, it's no big deal. Well, that's not the case. It's either cadmium, selenium, arsenic, and lead. And I would state, and I would challenge anybody to find any place on the planet where a previous solar field grows food fit for human consumption without toxic chemicals in it. It's just starting to come out now. These lands will never grow food fit for human consumption ever again. There's a couple landowners that are going to get rich, and the rest of the people in the township suffer. The money that we're going to get from this solar company, first of all, there's strings attached to it, and a couple things that was mentioned by our attorney, I take issue with the way I read the contract. One is the solar company has to agree where every penny they give us is spent. That's my interpretation. The second is they can sell this to anybody they want, and all they have to do is notify us 60 days after that sale is completed. So if anybody who's done any research on solar companies, most solar companies go bankrupt. So when this solar company goes bankrupt, I feel for the farmers and ranchers here who unwittingly signed a contract.
3 minutes.
They'll end up having a toxic wasteland to deal with on themselves. I fear it comes back to the township.
You transferring?
Oh, you want to get 3 minutes?
She's transferring minutes.
Sure.
Okay.
I only made it through 5 of my 10 points. And by the way, I have a 15-slide presentation on
No, that's, yeah.
the Facebook page if you want to go into it in detail. I'm a geologist for the last 45 years. I spent traveling the world doing energy projects. Mostly Africa and South America, all around the Atlantic. I also have an MS in finance, so I understand very well the corporate structure that the AES Corporation exists, and under them is AES Clean Energy, and under them is Sylvan Solar LLC. If you look at the agent for Sylvan Solar LLC, it's a company, corporate services out of Lansing and also Delaware, and they're circular. There are 3 different companies. The agents are mentioned and back and forth. The point I'm making is this is a corporation. There's a lot of nice people in this corporation that earn a good salary, but when they go bankrupt, you will never see a dime, and that's by design in the corporate structure. The solar issues, health issues are significant. There's ongoing work down in St. Clair County, south of Detroit, for the loud, low-frequency noise. Their own map shows over 30 decibels of low-frequency noise, over 20% of Garfield Township, and up to 50, right up to the limit of what's allowable. This was a study, again, funded by AES, by BAR. If you pay for a study, you get the answer you want. Solar is bad for farmland, and I don't think this solar project should go forward. I feel for the landowners that have signed contracts. I'm sorry about that, but there's a large chance, I'd say 50 to 90% chance, in the next 20 years, the company will be bankrupt. You'll be dealing with a toxic wasteland, and I don't want to raise my grandson next to a toxic wasteland. Thank you.
Kelly Haverkamp. I live at 5465 Ferris, that's Ferris and 56. I have had solar panels for 16 years now. And the only trouble I had was when lightning struck my fences on my sheep. And I needed to replace the fuse in the inverters. The only objection I had, well, I spade the issue. I really think that solar is very good, and I think we are going to need it more and more. And a lot of what's said here, I've been involved with this stuff for 16 years, and it's very, a lot of these suspicions are very deep. There is a model island in Denmark, it's an island in part of Denmark, that the community itself decided to invest in solar energy because they didn't like having to keep transporting the fuel oil for the winter by boat. And it's been going for quite a while. Now, I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared to bring it up, but I can't give you the let's see, I think I knew the name. It's called Soul. It's one of those O's with a slash. The island people own it themselves. It's owned by the community, and they have been increasing through the years. They also do farming, and they farm a lot underneath it. Gardening actually works well with it, but crops don't so much. But then again, they do a lot of raising of livestock, and the poisonous problems they don't get. I do sort of like the smaller ones, not great big. I think it's great big. I know there's bigger, but the main reason is that really good farmland is limited. We don't get anymore. But there is a lot of farmland that's very marginal. But they don't come in huge amounts, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 acres, maybe 10. Actually, the further east you go, the less good for farming the land becomes. So, I wouldn't cry if this went in, but I do think that there's more of a consideration of good quality farmland, which, by the way, is still farmed and it's not getting full of poisons, and you can get rid of these solar panels. It's not that big of a deal. It's more difficult. But I tried to go online, the GIS thing where you can find the
Sally,
and then go to
3 minutes is.
the soil survey, but I couldn't figure that out, so I don't know if it's on good soil.
Thank you.
Robert Boyd, 2598 West 56th Street, Garfield Township. This is quite simple. I'm not going to exceed my 2 minutes by no means. But simply put, my compliments to whoever put this township charter together. I've been reading more about it, and the individuals that put the wording in here and all this, it's amazing. So just a simple paragraph under the agriculture and environmental resources. To manage change in order to preserve the township's existing character and rural lifestyle by simply discouraging the extension of public utilities or improvements into those areas containing active viable farms and the best soils of situation to perpetuate farming activities. That seems quite straightforward, and that's our township. That's what, people that put this charter together, that one paragraph kind of says it all, as far as maintaining that type of atmosphere in this township. And so I hope you vote to approve the recommendation by the Planning Commission that also outlined a whole lot of A, B, C, D, E paragraphs along that same line that reflected the character of this township. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Captain Bierman. I live at 8588 Ferris Ave. I wasn't planning on talking tonight, but I'm kind of confused too. They bring up what the township, I own Bierman Firewood and Logging. I That was the last problem, a couple of years ago. Everybody was unanimous through planning, unanimous through zoning, unanimous through appeals, for us to be put in. But I was told there's no commercial property, so I'm hoping if this all goes through, I can get the industrial permit just like they did, to operate next to people's homes that I'm not allowed to. So I just thought apples to apples sort of thing, because the more I listen to this, it sounds like there's bribery going on, whether we get the state's money to pass it through. And from what I know, once you get the permit, it's really hard to get it taken away. So if you deny it, you'll have your township and people behind you. Just like they stand for the people that keep it small and agricultural. I mean, even the lady was admitting that small solar is okay, but we're talking about 1,000 acres completely covered or more. And I don't see how that's agricultural or it fits into that plan. I had to bend over backwards and jump through a lot of hoops to even be able to do it. I'm dumbfounded at this point. I mean, we were talking about windshield wiper fluid, and these guys are talking about poison in the ground to make sure nothing grows on it, and that just seems contradictory in every single sense of the word. So, I thought it was also anything, we could do commercial, but it was anything a quarter of a mile from the main road, going through, and then I was also told there was only a corridor of about 2 miles from, Baldwin to Croswell, I believe.
Loose.
So, that would fall under the jurisdiction of what they're saying and be able to get the permits if they could go through, but I don't even understand how we're stepping outside of that. And then, I was told I couldn't even be commercial, I had to stay agricultural, that was the main point. So, that's all I really have, apples to apples sort of thing. Thank you.
Yeah.
I would like to say something. My name is Elizabeth McDonald, I live at 8479 Terrace. I'm a neighbor to Kevin here. When he mentioned the word bribery, this is what I think. I know that law that was passed in 23 put the hammer down on anybody, any township, any county, really controlling their property. Their zoning laws, their master plans. And so I do believe that you guys were told, if you don't approve this, we're gonna get it anyway through that law, and you're not gonna get anything. So I think with all the money that they're presenting, who's gonna turn that down? You know what I mean? They know that someone's gonna go for $3 million a year to lease their land. When if they could sell it at market value and keep it as farmland, they could still be a millionaire. So, it's not the love of, it's the love of money that's the root of all evil. And for you to be told if you don't do it, you're gonna not get anything for it, and we're gonna get to do it anyway. So I pray that you will just go along with the planning commission and say no, 6-0, and, we'll just go from there. Thank you.
I'm Joe DuBois, 7848 Honda Drive. I am in Sheridan Township, but if this went through, we're wrapped up in the same boat. I applaud you guys, I applaud the planning commission for the denial. I applaud you guys for the way you handled this with a lot of public comment and letting them give their opinion and stuff. Sheridan, I'm very disappointed with because it was exactly what you just said. I talked to the township supervisor, and they said they had the option of not denying Sylvan Solar and getting however millions of dollars, or deny it and get nothing. That's totally wrong. Had Sheridan done it right, they would have seen massive opposition, like you guys have seen. The last meeting here was massive. There wasn't a seat there wasn't a seat that was empty. And, as Joe Fox, the representative, said, a new governor's coming to town next year, and the laws can change, and you won't have to fight this. And we won't have to fight it. So again, I would, Joe Fox basically was saying delay and let the law go away. Or he said there was 67 townships in the state of Michigan right now that are in the Michigan appellate court that are fighting this. And we don't know where that is. And Joe Fox is suggesting join the team, join those 67 townships. So I just applaud you guys the way you handled this. Thank you.
At least I won't walk away with your microphone this time like last time. Those of you that were here. All right, Joanne Hill, 3025 West 80th Street. Last meeting, I shared what God prophesied on May 3rd, 2022. It's becoming more and more clear as truth is beginning to flood the airwaves. Please listen once again. He said, solar power. This will be in your news. Listen to what has been covered up and lied about. Your enemies never wanted clean energy or clean power. It was another way to steal more from you in this hour, saith the Lord. I want to also thank the 6 members of the planning committee who unanimously voted no, stating clearly that solar fields would not be compatible with our beautiful farmlands. Thank you for listening to the residents of Garfield Township who poured out their hearts. A reoccurring statement was, do the right thing. Interestingly, I keep hearing that again. And the planning committee did. Even Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, admitted at the recent World Economic Forum that transitioning to solar and wind will cause a global power shortage. This is after he had spent years pressuring companies to do exactly that. Those of us who attended the last meeting watched a very polished presentation by the Sylvan Solar Company. Most of us who are awake know not all of what they presented was truthful. I'm sure not everyone in their company is intentionally being dishonest, but perhaps brainwashed. After hearing God's word, I would actually go as far to say that it may be a good idea for employees of Sylvan Solar Company to see what other opportunities for employment are out there. Once again, we, the people of Garfield Township, are asking the board to do the right thing. Vote no for the health of your residents, pets, livestock, wildlife, and land. Thank you.
I reside at 2785 South Wisner, Sherman Township, a neighboring township. Townships and counties across Michigan are watching what is going on here. I'm also a candidate for the state representative of the 101st Joe Fox's area. I have lived here in Nuevo County for the past 35 years. I care deeply about the future of our community. I attended the last planning commission meeting regarding this solar project, and I stand with the residents of the township. We need to apply the brakes. As discussed previously, it is vital that we reclaim local control from the state and work to abolish PA 233. 3 unelected bureaucrats in Lansing should not have more power than the voices of the people living here. Amen. Last month, I sat and I listened to the concerns of this community. It is clear what the residents want, and it isn't this project. Townships across the state are pausing these projects to wait for leadership that is willing to fight for local control, local power and control. I respectfully ask that this board apply the brakes today. Tap the brakes. I
My name is Jackie Conoco. I live at 8979 Roswell Avenue, Luego. I'm really opposed of the whole solar panels because I will be surrounded by them. And I don't know if there's any other spots on that map of the solar panels, but it looks to me like I'm gonna be the only one really surrounded, boxed in. And I don't know if the people that are building this, have they ever been boxed in by solar panels and would have to live with that? So I hope that you guys won't know for our community concerns. Thank you.
Right. Moving along. Anybody else?
Got one more.
Okay.
I'm Mel Wyman, live at 6626 Gordon Avenue. Last I heard that Michigan is not the sunshine state. At least I'm not aware of it. I used to live in Zealand, and I know that isn't that far away, but that was noted to be the least amount of sunshine in the state except for Alaska. My real concern is I ain't fully against solar in its place. The problem we have is when the sun's down, I like to turn on my lights, which will not be there from solar power without a storage system to store that energy. I'm afraid if this system goes through, the next thing they're going to want is batteries, something to store that. We do have I've worked with consumers for 40 years, and we have a system up at London Pump Storage, which basically is a battery in some sense. They don't use any chemicals, they use water, but they, of course, the DNR and stuff will not allow that again, because they say they kill fish. I don't know how they can count fish that go through a turbine I can walk through with no problem. But anyway, that's the concern later. If we approve this, what's our next step? And the other problem is with the generation side of consumers is they are guaranteed anytime they produce a megawatt, they put it on the line. What does that mean? That means our base load plants have to downgrade, and that's regulated. They have to. They have to buy their power. Who in their right mind would build a base load generating plant if you're guaranteed not to be able to run it all the time? I take it back to the example like a car. How more efficient is a car if it runs at a steady speed without going through traffic lights, stop, go, stop, go, stop, go, stop, go? Just the wear factor alone on boilers and stuff like that is detrimental to a power plant. The solar goes through, they are guaranteed to sell it. I don't know if they guaranteed what price. And they have the luxury of tying into consumers or the distribution center. They don't have to bother with individual people. They don't have to bother with, if they're not making megawatts, who cares? They're not making money, but who cares? It's sitting there. So we can downgrade a person that's got billions of dollars invested in a base load plant. They say if air quality and all this stuff. I don't know where we're going with this nuclear.
Now, very much. Thank you.
Mike Weaver, I own the property at 8818 South Blues. We are going to be adjacent landowners to this project. You can go back and forth
you know, this is bad, that's bad. At the end of the day, the planning commission was 100% right. This doesn't fit. I bought our property to build our house in the future because of the master plan. I did my research before I ever even bought property. My hard-earned money, my whole life savings to buy it, to build a future because of the master plan, the agriculture, the beautiful views. I didn't buy my property to be next to a toxic wasteland in 20, 30 years. If it was so good, why aren't they buying the property and making it something that's gonna last 100 years? Not 25, 30. That's not investing in the future. We have dams that have been operating over 100 years. Solar panels are not the answer. I'm not anti-solar, I got solar panels. I don't use them because they don't work. Plain and simple. How much sun have we had in the last month? Not very much. These giant corporations, they don't care about a little guy like us. Another thing that hasn't been mentioned, we got a handful of landowners that are gonna benefit from money from this. What about all these other people's mental health that live next to this? Pain, anguish, suffering, all of the above, because somebody wanted to get rich. It's all about the money. It isn't about what people gotta look at. At the end of the day, I bought my property because of the master plan. Beautiful country views. I grew up in Grand Rapids. I came to Nuevo County when I met my wife. I love it up here. I bought property here for what's here, not to bring industrial to the country. It doesn't belong here. Go find a landfill. Go find a toxic wasteland on the east side of the state. It doesn't belong here on our beautiful farmland that'll never be farmed again, ever. Give one example. Like Mr. Nibbling said, anywhere in the world, there isn't 1 acre that's been put back into agricultural production for people to consume, not animals. Not to mention, another thing that hasn't been brought up is stray voltage. I'm an electrician.
Okay.
What's it gonna do to people that have farm animals? I take my wife through.
Okay.
What's it gonna do to people that have farms nearby? Stray voltage, you're not gonna be able to milk your cow. Does anybody know about stray voltage? Because I do. I've heard the stories. Substation comes in next to a dairy farm that's been there for 100 years. Now the cows, they won't milk. Can you explain that? How are we to know the substation isn't gonna fry everybody's animals and make them not produce milk or whatever they want to do? There's a lot of unknowns. There's not enough known about all of this. It's too soon. Like the other gentleman said, we need to pump the brakes. I agree. The planning commission 6-0. Get it done. Force them to go to the state. It's not gonna make it.
Thank you.
I lived in this area for over 54 years. This property here and this property here, my mom and dad owned 192 acres from Loon, all the way down 88 on both sides. So when they passed away, I had to fight for 2.5 years to keep property because I love the view. We farm, we hunt, and I had to fight with my family, the sisters that didn't want it here because they didn't do nothing. They were, I'm not gonna get in. But it was my brother and me, we had to fight. They had the property that my mom and dad left to us. So the property that was sold and divvied up, Mr. Niblett bought that. They bought that. My brother kept it. I kept mine. So, and we love it out there. Okay. All right. There is no farm in Solar Farm.
beauty and about not wanting to toxic it, destroy it. It takes over 300 years if you get the ground to come back. There's a place in Nebraska that failed, a place in solar in Minnesota, we know because we've got family there. So you guys are doing a good job. We appreciate for the people, listen to the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on. Old business, we have nothing. Under new business, we have the Sylvan Solar conditional use to consider. Brad, go through that.
Yeah, sure. So, good evening, board. I won't rehash everything I rehashed at the Planning Commission. I know many of you are familiar with the issues involved. As you know, the Planning Commission held a very extensive public hearing on this back on January 29th. That resolution that they have adopted has been forwarded to you along with the entire record, which would include all the application materials, all the comments, all the correspondence that have come in. So you've had a chance to review all of that. In addition, I've prepared two alternative resolutions for the board. One which would approve the recommendation of the Planning Commission and deny the special land use or conditional land use. The other which would go against the Planning Commission's recommendation and approve the special land use. So you have both resolutions. I would encourage the board in your analysis to go through the standards, both in section 18.4 and section 18.19 of the ordinance, and the standards in the ordinance control. That's what I told the Planning Commission. The ordinance is what matters in terms of your analysis as to whether or not this application meets those standards. If you find that it does, you should approve it. If you find that it does not, you should deny it. And so I would just ask that you put your findings, talk about it openly on the record, put your findings one way or the other on the record so that you've got a clear record and show your analysis as to why you feel the way you do. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'd encourage you to review the resolutions. I can go over them if you'd like.
Please, excuse me, please do, so I can get my voice for the rest of the evening here.
You want me to go over the resolution?
Please.
Which
denial.
one?
The
denial?
denial one first.
Okay, so this is a proposed resolution denying a conditional use permit for principal use solar energy systems for Sylvan Solar. And I'll just read it, and then you can agree with it, disagree with it, change it however you like. So, whereas Sylvan Solar LLC, an affiliate of AES Clean Energy Development LLC, has applied for a conditional use permit for a principal use solar energy system to be conducted and operated within the township. And whereas section 18.19 of the township zoning ordinance authorizes principal use solar energy facilities subject to a conditional use permit, and only if the proposed use satisfies one, the specific standards in section 18.19, and two, the general condition use standards in section 18.4. And whereas the Garfield Township Planning Commission is authorized to conduct a public hearing and make a recommendation to the Township Board on the application, and the Township Board is the final decision maker under the zoning ordinance. And whereas the Planning Commission held a duly noticed public hearing on January 29th, 2026, at which it received and considered the application, the site plan, and supporting materials submitted by the applicant, all supplemental submissions, the memoranda prepared by Township Attorney, and reviews and comments of Williams & Works engineers, and extensive public comment, including correspondence from more than 75 members of the public, and testimony from 28 members of the public, collectively the record. And whereas on January 29th, 2026, after deliberation, the Planning Commission voted unanimously 6-0 to recommend denial of the conditional land use, special land use permit, and adopted a written resolution setting forth their findings and conclusions. And whereas the Township Board has reviewed and considered the Planning Commission resolution in the record, including without limitation the application materials, hearing minutes, consultant review letters, Township Attorney memoranda, and all written public comments received into the record as of January 29th, 2026, and any additional materials properly received by the Township Board prior to this meeting on February 10th, 2026, including the public comment tonight. Now therefore be it resolved that Garfield Township Board hereby adopts the Planning Commission's recommendation and denies the requested conditional land use permit as follows. 1. Adoption of the Planning Commission recommendation and denial. The Township Board hereby adopts the Planning Commission's recommendation of denial, and the Township Board hereby denies the application of Sylvan Solar LLC for a conditional land use permit for a principal use solar energy system on the subject property. 2. Findings. Compliance with specific solar standards under Section 18.19. The Township Board finds, consistent with the Planning Commission resolution, that the applicant's submission does satisfy the technical elements of Section 18.19 as presented. However, approval requires compliance with all applicable standards, including the general conditional use standards in Section 18.4. And the Township Board's denial is based on the findings below, establishing that the proposed use does not satisfy Section 18.4. 3. Findings and conclusions. General conditional use standards. After review of the entire record, the Township Board finds that the applicant has not demonstrated that the proposed use satisfies the general conditional use standards in Section 18.4 of the zoning ordinance. The Township Board finds and conclusions include the following. A. Not harmonious with and not in accordance with the master plan. Section 18.4A requires the proposed use to be harmonious with and in accordance with the general objectives of the Township Master Plan. The Township Master Plan's future land use map and policies designate the subject property and the surrounding area for agricultural rural use and emphasize preservation of farmland and rural character, support for agricultural operations, and avoidance of incompatible industrial scale development in rural agricultural areas. The record demonstrates that the proposed use would convert substantial acreage of active open farmland to an industrial scale solar facility for a multi-decade duration, including installation of extensive panel fields, fencing, access drives, equipment pads, and related infrastructure, and would thereby conflict with the master plan's agricultural preservation and rural character objectives. Accordingly, the Township Board concludes the proposed use does not satisfy Section 18.4A. B. Incompatible with the existing or intended character of the general vicinity, farmland, rural character. Section 18.4B requires the proposed use to be designed, constructed, operated, and maintained so as to be compatible in appearance with the existing or intended character of the general vicinity and not change the essential character of the area. The existing and intended character of the vicinity is rural and agricultural, comprised predominantly of farmland, open fields, and farm-related residential and accessory uses, with long rural viewsheds and low-intensity land use patterns. The proposed use is an industrial scale solar development, which by its nature introduces large expanses of constructed infrastructure and industrial appurtenances, including panel arrays, security fencing, potential lighting, inverters, transformers, and a collection substation area that are materially different in scale, intensity, and appearance from agricultural land uses and rural landscapes, and could affect the movement of wildlife. Based on the record, the Township Board finds the proposed use would be incompatible in appearance with the rural farmland character. It would dominate and materially alter rural viewsheds. It would impact deer and other wildlife movement and would change the essential character of the area from agricultural rural to industrial utility use. Accordingly, the Township Board concludes the proposed use does not satisfy Section 18.4B. C. Insufficient evidence to show the proposed use will not be hazardous or disturb existing or future neighboring uses. Section 18.4C requires adequate evidence showing the proposed use will not be hazardous to or disturb existing or future neighboring uses. The Township Board finds that the applicant bears the responsibility to present evidence sufficient to allow the Township to make the required affirmative findings under Section 18.4, and that where the record lacks competent material and substantial evidence on a required standard, the Township cannot lawfully make the affirmative finding necessary for approval. The record contains substantial public testimony and written comments raising specific, unrelated concerns regarding disturbance to neighboring agricultural and rural residential uses including without limitation impacts to rural character and enjoyment of property. Also, potential glare and reflective impacts, impacts on wildlife, noise from inverters, transformers, dust and traffic during construction, stormwater drainage changes, and long-term maintenance and decommissioning uncertainty. The Township Board further finds that the applicant did not provide sufficient site-specific, credible, and verifiable evidence in the record to establish that these impacts will not disturb existing or future neighboring uses, or that such impacts will be effectively avoided or mitigated to the degree required by Section 18.4C. The Township Board also finds that the proposed use would introduce a long-term industrial utility use in a farming district where neighboring properties reasonably anticipate continued agricultural and rural uses in accordance with the zoning and master plan, and that the inability to demonstrate non-disturbance is particularly significant given the proposed use's scale and duration. Accordingly, the Township Board concludes the proposed use does not satisfy Section 18.4C. D. Additional Section 18.4 findings supporting denial. The Township Board further adopts and makes the following findings and conclusions to the extent stated in the Planning Commission resolution and supported by the record. 1. The proposed use would not constitute a substantial improvement to the property in the immediate vicinity in the community as a whole, considering the loss of agricultural land use and rural character impacts. 2. The proposed use is likely to be detrimental to the economic welfare of the community, including credible concerns raised in the record regarding potential diminishment of nearby property values. 3. The proposed use may involve activities, materials, equipment, and operational conditions that are detrimental to persons, property, and the general welfare by reason of increased traffic during construction, potential noise, and potential glare reflection impacts, and the record did not establish adequate mitigation to allow the required affirmative finding. 4. The proposed use is not consistent with the intent and purposes of the zoning ordinance classifying this land as agricultural, which is intended to preserve agricultural land and rural character and to allow compatible agricultural and low-intensity rural uses. 4. Conclusion. Necessary result under ordinance standards. Because the proposed use does not satisfy the mandatory general conditional and conditional use standards of Section 18.4 of the zoning ordinance, as set forth above, the Township Board concludes that the application must be denied. 5. Notice of decision in the record. The Township Clerk is directed to provide written notice of this decision to the applicant and to maintain the record of proceedings, including this resolution, the Planning Commission resolution, the minutes, exhibits, and all materials received. And then it has a place for you to vote at that point.
One part of this, back onto 4, proposed use not consistent with the intent of the purpose of the zoning ordinance. Shouldn't that have been master plan?
Under, sorry, what page are you on?
Straight up from page 6.
Page 6.
Line 4.
Is
that the right language you want in there?
We'll have to confirm it against the resolution from the Planning Commission. I thought it said zoning ordinance in the Planning Commission resolution, so.
You have that one right with you? Just want to make sure the language is correct. Is all.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
the Planning Commission did refer
Okay.
to the zoning ordinance.
I just want for correct language. Now, everybody has had this material sent to them, and everybody have a chance to read through everything that we need to. Amy, got anything that you would like to say in this, or?
There's been a lot of comments. A lot of comments against this. Not so much for it. And I think about, we were elected to represent the community as a whole. So we do have to take into account the large number of comments that have been made. You know, we put out a survey every so many years to get an idea of what people would like for this community. And then through this process, a lot of written
documentation has been submitted by our community. There's been public comment. You know, Sylvan has provided a lot of documentation. They gave us a nice presentation, but there was some direct comment or questions that still left some area that could be questioned. And it feels like our community is really looking at us to represent them. This township is agriculture. It is rural. And we spent a lot of time on designing that master plan. I know they say it's a solar farm, but and it's underneath PA 116. It's there, the protection's there. But we're not growing any crops. You can't run animals under it. They're too hot. They'd also damage your plants. I just come back to, we need to listen to all comments. We haven't had a lot of support for this program. Very few compared to the people who are against it. I think there's a lot of questions in people's minds that you actually haven't done really well on helping them understand. They feel pushed and railroaded, and they feel like this needs to be slowed down because, you know, a question was asked. Would you like to have it all around your home? I mean, have you talked to them? Do you guys experience that? There's other issues. You know, they talk about water safety. We are in the Muskegon River watershed. If there is contamination, and I know you say there's not a lot in your panels, but there's very small amounts of different metals because it makes it so they're cheaper to make. But there's still some. People are concerned. The construction phase, there's different things going on. Water eventually goes into the watershed and down to Lake Michigan. So it affects more than just this area. There's been comment made regarding, well, the landowner can do what they want. There's rules set in this township for a lot of different things. We had a public hearing. Landowners say, well, I have rules. We need to look out for landowners as a whole. Our job here is to take that into account, not just the few that are actually signing the contract. We need to look at all of our landowners here that are affected. This is a decision that none of us have taken lightly. We have spent a lot of time. Our planning commission, who we entrusted to do a lot of work, a lot of research, hours and hours of time to bring us a good recommendation. We have to take that into account. You know, some people have said that there's potential, areas of not handling it right. That's not the case. There has been a lot of work done to look at both sides. So our decision tonight is very big and very important. And we do need to look at and take into account all the comments that have been made. Really look at the points the planning commission outlined. And look at how the applicant fits or does not fit each of those and make that decision.
And kind of to Amy's point, I mean, without PA 233, we probably wouldn't even be in this situation, right? Had we not been forced to essentially put an ordinance in place, we wouldn't probably even entertain that. I'm speaking for myself, I'm not speaking for the board, but I mean, we were pretty much told you have to put an ordinance in place, and not by Brad, this is by the state. You have to put an ordinance in place to try to be compliant with this. So, you know, going back to the standards from the planning commission, A, B, and C, the first three standards, it's pretty clear that those haven't been met.
Correct.
I mean, harmonious is consistent and things that work well together. Amy made it perfectly clear, farmland, animals don't work well with solar panels.
They
So
don't.
that hasn't been approved. Again, the next one talks about being harmonious. Everything comes back to being harmonious, and I don't know how Kevin said it best. How do you put industrial into ag and have that maintained?
Don't work.
Well,
Thank you, Bob.
my opinion is that, first of all, I think all of us sitting up here want to thank everybody for coming here.
Yes.
Because we learn every time we hear somebody speak. Everybody speaks different. Like we have a geologist come, we have somebody bought some land up here and wants to raise his family and all this. And, you know, our job, at least my feeling, our job is to support the landowners. That's why we're either elected to this position, appointed to this position, whatever we've done. So we take all this paperwork we've been working on for, what, George, a year and a half?
Yeah, at least.
Year and a half, and we hear compelling arguments from the solar company, then we listen to the people. So well, you do have a big job, but I just think that we need to thank people for coming, and it makes our job a little easier to hear how you feel.
Thanks, Bob. Our job is we're an elected voice of the people, and the people have spoken on this. If you don't listen, you're not doing your job up here. Our job is to pay attention to our constituents, to the people elected us, not big companies. I understand they were great to work with, great people to work with. But we're here, we live here. This is where this is where our homes are, and this is what we're gonna vote for. Ray, you got anything?
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. You know, we're elected. I think there's two ways to look at it. We're elected to take care of the township monetarily, and we're elected to take care of the township through input. Well, we've had that input. We've had survey, public talking, emails, other electronic, and it's fairly obvious that our populace doesn't want it. So there again, do we work? You know, there was a couple guys that said, or a couple of people that said that if we vote it down, we get nothing. Well, that's not necessarily true. We get about $4 million less, but we still get something. So do we vote to get something? Well, I don't think the people want something. I don't think the people want solar, period. So that's what I think we have to take into consideration.
So do we need to go through the other resolution, or do we have somebody who wants to make a motion and accept this piece? Which would be resolution number 26-210, right, Kristen?
Yes.
Okay.
A motion to accept the resolution
to deny,
presented by the planning commission.
So resolution denying.
I'll make a motion, we accept
It'd be
that.
a motion to adopt the resolution as read into the record by the township attorney.
Correct.
I'll make a motion, we do.
That'd be Ray.
I'll second.
We'll second that one, Ray.
Yep.
Bob?
Yep.
Do we have any more discussion? More discussion? Nope. Roll call, Kristen,
Yep, one
please.
second.
This would be vote yes to
Bob, you
approve.
seconded that, right?
Yes.
All right, George,
Yes.
Kristen, yes, Ray,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
All right, thank you. Moving on, let's go find the agenda. We're at, we're, next month is our budget hearing. Tonight we have a tentative budget in front of us to review. Okay, I want to go over that, Kristen, a little bit, and any changes that we've had. And I don't see, looking at it, was pretty close to last year's, just a few $1,000 more, so. Anything out of the ordinary that you're gonna need to go over with, Kristen?
yep, 1 second.
Okay.
14,000,
Yeah,
Just
about 14,000,
14,000.
yeah.
You know, besides fees for contracted services, it was pretty,
Oh, yeah.
pretty
Not bad.
similar. And I think next year's, I maintained a very similar budget as well.
Yep, I mean, it was within 14,000,
Yeah.
so.
We reviewing this or we approving
This
it?
is, we gotta review this one, cause
Okay.
we will have to approve the tentative budget when we get done reviewing. And then move on to the for next month.
And again, I mean, I would generally say I'm pretty conservative on the revenue side,
Mhm.
a little less conservative on the expense side, just to make sure we have everything.
Correct, yep,
But generally, we come in well under budget.
yep, we've done well for the last few years, like 20.
Yeah, we're in a very healthy financial.
Yep.
We're doing a fiscal responsibility.
Yep.
Doing, as my,
We asked about that.
Mhm.
And then there's also the wage document is included in there
right,
to review before next meeting.
did you,
Yep.
keep a spot in there for my, deputy as a wage?
I did hourly.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
I hopefully won't need that much help anymore.
I put all yours normal, is that what you?
Correct.
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I did keep a deputy spot in there.
That's what I meant, yeah.
Yep.
Well, at least they're talking about it.
The only other one is figuring out Jamie. Did you?
Yeah, right, yeah, that's, did she come up with a plan for it yet?
No. And
So,
I just said to her, I'm like, your first initial email was 15 to 17
Mhm.
per parcel, and so that will be an interesting conversation one.
Okay, yeah, I think.
I'm waiting to hear back from her.
We're not,
Or
we're not-
assessor, yeah.
well, that's what
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I know she went in higher than the other assessor we had.
Yeah,
Right.
now
But
she wants
now-
to negotiate higher.
She's got a lot of
Now
work.
she's negotiating?
Yeah.
When do we negotiate?
That's what I want to know.
Well, she's a,
Well, now.
with, Jamie come in there with inherited something that was
Sure.
really.
Yeah, she's done a really nice job.
But
Yeah.
there again,
Right.
we paid her more to do that.
Right. So I don't know if she,
So what's the new?
well, I don't know, we haven't got that yet. That's
Yeah,
what I was
once I
hoping
get
that
it,
we
I'll
had.
send it on.
Okay. There again, I'm not opposed, I'm just asking why.
Well, there was everything was done with her assistant or whatever, the
Mhm.
mentor.
Mhm.
And then the state comes up in with here, you have to do this. Bring these all up to.
So you're saying,
Yeah, she's got them
the
all done
job
already.
requirements
Right.
increased?
Certain parts of it, certain
Oh, that
aspects.
larger.
And I
Yeah.
think it's been a learning curve.
Right.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's
Mhm.
not,
I wouldn't want it.
no, gosh, no.
That's an honesty.
Right, she, I don't know, what's comparable, I mean, did you have anybody comparable that she?
I mean, I Googled some stuff, but I don't
Yeah.
know how accurate Google is
Yeah,
sometimes.
sometimes.
But we haven't
sometimes
seen her
not.
proposal, right?
How's that?
We haven't even seen her proposal.
Nothing yet. We'd see it next month, and we really should have some idea of it.
Once she sends it, I can send it on,
Okay,
because that would be the only thing that would be new.
okay.
I'm assuming she's comparing it to other townships.
I would think so.
Relative to size.
Yeah, I think that's what she would be doing, I would hope, anyway.
Yeah, I hope so.
So that's the only thing we're waiting on. So basically, if you have any questions on the budget, otherwise, if not, we can adopt this as a tentative budget and go over it next month at our budget hearing.
Yeah, I'll bring a more polished copy back.
Yep.
Okay.
And we'll do a amendment for this year and then a budget for next year.
Correct. All right. So this is your tentative budget to look at, yeah.
Okay.
That we want to do that in the form of a motion that we adopt this as a tentative budget to be going over at the budget hearing next month.
Can we adopt something tentative?
All right. Don't have to. Good. Saves a little time then.
Yeah.
And then the last thing on the agenda was D&B Bryan.
Yeah, the road committee is asking us to approve the bid for 2026 for DMV Bryan.
Do we know how it compares to last year?
I'd say this
It's I
includes.
think it's a little cheaper than last year, but.
Is this,
Well, it's two different things. Yeah.
because Michigan Chloride pulled back out.
Right.
This includes everything that they had done.
What they were doing, yeah.
Except a different product.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're looking at brine now instead of the mineral wells.
Exactly.
Right.
It's a different product.
It's a
Unfortunately.
different product and a lot more taxes.
Unfortunately.
Right.
But I just was wondering if it encompassed everything that Michigan Chloride had done, plus because we had them still doing, what was it, the Anderson Hill?
Like, we had the county do, Anderson Flats because they couldn't get down their trucks down there.
So we still had them
So
contracted
DMB
to
can
do
get
some-
their trucks down there because they were doing Anderson Flats
Yeah.
for the county
Right,
way before,
right.
so.
So we're just taking them, if we go with this, taking them back
Right.
on to do everything again.
That's what I understand. Is that what we're going with, Bob? You're on the.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
They would do the same things and still do the Anderson Flat Hill.
That's the way we understand it, right, Gary? Yeah.
Okay.
Is there any other,
Yeah.
They couldn't find
exactly.
anybody else.
so there's no other option?
No, not the moment,
Okay.
no.
Well, there is an option, but.
There's an
It
option to
is.
not do it, and then we have the dust. And
Yeah,
everything.
exactly.
So,
And
you
the
know, and it's
potholes.
well, it's a hazard too. I
Yep.
mean, it makes visibility and stuff, so,
Exactly.
okay.
So we need
So moved to accept.
do we have a support to that?
I'll support it.
Who was that? Was that Ray?
Ray was a support,
Yeah.
yeah. Amy made the motion to accept DMB Bryan estimate.
Am I talking loud enough?
I'm trying to.
I
I'm
said,
gonna
am I?
lose, I'm gonna lose it. You're doing good.
Okay.
I'm losing my voice here again. I did that the other night too. So, anyway, motion on the floor, supported. Do we have any more discussion on the motion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Committee reports. How's that?
Did you get the packet in, sir?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, well,
I figured for the sake of time, I would just put them all on 2 pages, so you can have them all if you want to take.
if I can find it.
I didn't bring one, so I can't.
You want to borrow mine to read, or?
What he's saying is he wants us to read it.
You're making us read it. As we have a committee report, the committee gives the report. That's why we have committee reports, so you can give the report. Just picking on you, Gary. Yep. That means we gotta read what's going on, then ask questions back, right? Yeah.
Do you want?
I need a crayon.
So the walking trail, okay, review the
Anderson
budget.
Flats, I hear LR and Bob are meeting with somebody down for Anderson Flats.
Yeah. Road.
All right. Do anybody have any questions for these guys down here, this committee?
Alternative approaches for Anderson Flats.
Yeah, they were looking at sometime partially bypassing that hill somewhat. And
Just gonna, can soft pedal that with a property owner, something more the idea of considering that.
Oh.
What is it, property we'd have to purchase? You know what we're talking
I
about?
think it'd be a swap more so than anything. They would control where the road was, and we'd just put the road through. Right? Is that how that went before?
Are
When
we
they-
purchasing property or are
Purchase
we
or swapping?
swapping property?
When you're talking to the landowners that are next to it.
It would, if everything goes right, it would be, well, you would acquire a right-of-way strip to route the road through the property. Which have to buy-in.
Yeah.
And that's, we're gonna discuss it as the first step of going through the process of establishing a project.
Sure.
So the grades on the existing road, about 20%.
Yeah, some of it.
There's really not enough
Yes.
room to do switchbacks appropriately, and so we're gonna see what we can do. If we want the idea of further discussions.
Yeah, there's very little cutting, if any, you could do to that hill.
What's that?
The existing road right now, you had very little, if any.
No.
Yeah.
Really not.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Must have disconnected their number.
No
I've seen
road.
some hazards on that when one of their Salmon Run's buses pulling canoe trailer lost its brakes on the hill. That one jackknife, and they were,
They're done.
yeah, had engine trouble, and we stepped on the brakes. That was the end of the brakes. And
No, scary.
it was.
Scary.
How's that?
No, I said you guys did really good because there's no road complaints reported in the past month.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Not mine, no. Okay. I haven't had.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's very
They
good. You got
disconnected
people
their
happy
number.
out there.
Yeah. She answered me, so I don't. I think we're good. Yep.
Oh, sure. Yeah. That's good.
I don't see anything
No, I think
to discuss.
No, accept the report as written. What do we got on bills? Kristen, anything out of the ordinary? I gotta find it. There it is. I just had it.
Nothing.
Thank
out
you,
of the
guys.
ordinary.
Lighting is weird here.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta.
so different.
No, there isn't anything out of the ordinary.
Did you go good? Not overspend again?
Nope.
Always good.
Yeah, you're really good again. Wait till next month,
Yeah, the
end of the year. Yeah. So, need a motion to approve bills.
I'll make the motion to approve the bills as presented.
Do we have a
I'll
support for
second
that? Any discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I guess we're at that point where, got anything to say, Brad, or you want nothing?
I have nothing. I just thank you guys for all your hard work.
Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you.
Well, that's a tough decision to make, but you guys did a nice job.
Thank you.
Oh,
Then you get your famous motion, Bob.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right, so after the Garfield Township Planning Committee voted 6-0 in favor of no solar panels tonight, the Township Board voted 5-0 in favor of no solar panels. So, good news for the
people who are against the solar panels, like me. Of course, we have the wonderful state of Michigan still to deal with, and whatnot. I will keep you updated on this. I don't know if they have to go. I don't know if they have to go in front of the appeals panel here locally or not. That would be the next question. I know that Bierman Logging had to do that a couple years ago, so I don't know if that's their next step. I'm not a lawyer, but if you made it this far, feel free to hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you in the next one. Also, comment down below if you are in favor of the solar farm or not. Have a great night.